I'm Shoestring Jane. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things frugal, thrifty, money saving and money making. And today I thought I would talk about what you can do if you're lonely and you don't have any money. And this was prompted by a post on my Facebook group, which is called My Secondhand Frugal Life, if you want to join, where somebody had asked the question, what do you do? Have you got any advice for somebody who is desperately lonely, has no money and no friends? That's the post. And I thought, that's a very sad post, but what a great thing to go and ask a helpful, community-minded Facebook group like this one. So it is generally really helpful. You get the odd bad apple, but really hardly any. It's a supportive group, and there are lots of Facebook groups like that, and they're a good starting point for those kind of questions, I think. And as usual, the members of my group have come up with just some brilliant ideas, just really helpful ideas. A big one has been volunteer. And I found this was my own experience, or joining things, join a group. And it doesn't really matter what stage of your life you're at, there's usually some sort of group available that you can join. For me, I'd moved to a new area. I was pregnant. I had one small child who was, I think she was about two at the time, 2.5, and I was quite pregnant, and I joined my local NCT group, which was National Childbirth Trust, and I went to regular meetings and made friends, and I got involved with their fundraising activities. So I volunteered. They used to do like twice yearly, nearly new sales of baby equipment, toddler toys, clothing, maternity clothing, anything you might need as a parent, books and that sort of thing. And it was a great sale. It was a very good fundraiser. And I also wrote their newsletter for a while in my local group, and I made really good friends, and some of them I still know. And the group was actually in the area I lived in. So when my children then moved up to nursery school and primary school, I already knew some of the parents, and my children already knew some of the children from that group. So that was a real good move. And the other thing I did was I then joined the PTA, Parent Teacher Association, and did a lot of fundraising with them too. And the friends I made doing that, because we did lots of events over about 4 or 5 years, they're still my friends now, 25 years on, and I think that's kind of a working together, that kind of bonding thing, doing something together for the greater good. So we did things like, we did a summer fair, big summer fair, we did a Christmas bazaar, we did jumble sales, we did a quiz night. That was really fun, very drunken actually. We did all sorts of things. I'm trying to think what else, but an auction of promises we did one time. That was fun, and it was loads of stuff. It was really good, and it was a really good way to feel that you were part of a community. So those are the things that I personally have found helpful, but I'm going to go through, so I will be reading from my phone. I'm actually filming this on my laptop, which is probably why the picture's not going to be very good, as opposed to camera on my phone, which is much better. So the other thing I suggested, because I do it now, is a book group. So a book group doesn't cost much. You can often pick up the book second hand, or you can go to the library and borrow it, or you might buy it, you can borrow it, So there's ways of doing that. I tend to buy mine second hand, but occasionally I've managed to get them from the library, and sometimes I've got them as an ebook on Borrow Box as well. So it doesn't have to be an expensive thing, and it is really fun. I mean, it just happens to be an all-female book group that I go to, and it's just really fun. So we talk about the book for a bit. We're not too intellectual, although we're called the Intellectual Book Club, which is ironic, obviously. We talk about the book for a bit, and then we have a chat and a glass of wine, and it's just really fun. It's really nice. So, you can do things like that. So lots and lots of people are saying volunteer, and a lot of places pay expenses. So, if you're worried about getting there, not every charity will pay expenses. A lot of them can't afford to now, as that's also been pointed out in the comments, but a lot of them say it is usually something that they will offer expenses for their volunteers, sometimes food. Somebody said the awful thing is that when money's short, it can make you feel more socially isolated. I'm not religious, but I do find that some activities at churches are helpful. And she's also mentioned local libraries being good. Local libraries are good because although obviously it's quite it's not a particularly social thing going in and borrowing a book. They are often groups run by libraries, more and more increasingly anyway here in the UK, because the libraries that survived all of the council cuts have to justify their existence, and quite often they'll have groups come in, stitch and bitch groups, or maybe something like a study group or a genealogy group and those kind of things. They have things going on. They have toddler groups, they have reading groups. So, if you're a parent, you can go and meet other parents. Sorry, this camera does lag a bit, so I have to keep turning it off and on again. Somebody says, just don't stay in all day on your own. If you have a flask, pack a hot drink and a simple lunch and just go out for a walk. Garden centres are nice. Just get out and about and go and at least see people, even if you're not really talking to them. It's quite often you will get chatting to them. And I find the older I get, the more I've turned into my mum. My mum will chat to anybody everywhere. And I used to find it embarrassing when I was a teenager. Now I find I'm doing it. You can tell if somebody's going to be receptive to a chat. I wouldn't talk to an awkward teenager at a bus stop because they just think, "Why are you talking to me?" But, somebody my age or an older person, I often have a little chat, just boring stuff, the weather, how late the bus is, those kind of things. Someone else is saying their local library does a knit and natter, a monthly craft session, and book groups as well there. Somebody says Salvation Army have coffee and chat on a Monday and a Friday with free drinks and fruit, bread or toast, 10 till 2. I guess that's not going to be every single Salvation Army, but they probably will do some community events, so worth looking. It's a friendly place to meet people and make new friends. And I do think with church-run activities, they often don't force you to join the church. You don't have to be religious. They want to be a community group. So don't be afraid to go into churches, full of good people a lot of the time. Somebody says she just gets out and talks to people. That's what I've just said already. Somebody else said the same thing. I've recently Googled all the churches in the area I'm moving to for social activities, also Facebook community groups and libraries. I drop in and out of a craft group and a book group at my local library. Loads of areas have walking groups too. Actually, they have one of those here. They have, they call it the walking bus. I know sometimes they have those for school, but this is just literally, if you want to join in the walk. Hello, Lola. I told you, she photobombs every single video I ever do. But yeah, you just go meet. I think they do it on a Monday morning, so it tends to be for kind of retired people and people who aren't working. But they just have a really nice long walk and a chat, and you can tell that they're all very comfortable with each other now, and they've got to know each other. So maybe they go for a coffee afterwards. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm always out with the dog when I see them. So someone says, "Be strong. Go out of your door, and you will find new friends and a whole new world out there waiting for you to shine." Lovely comment. Somebody else said about volunteering with a group, with a cause that you support, because there's so many mental and social benefits. I think that's true. You feel like you're doing some good. It does you good. This cat. Go and volunteer at your local cat shelter, because that's where I got her from. Anyway, somebody says volunteer at a local charity shop, or look for a part or full-time job if you're struggling from lack of money. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it may also be that, you can't really work because you have caring responsibilities, or you've got small children, and it's too expensive to actually pay for the childcare. I know that's always a bit of a struggle, particularly if you're a single parent, so you've got no one else to look after the children. But it may be that you can get some form of job where you can be social, and even if it's a volunteering charity shop job, it would hold you in good stead. Employers love to see that you've volunteered, so maybe at some point in the future, if you are at a point where you can get employment, then that's always helpful. So this cat is very distracting. She really is distracting. It's all about her. It's me. Somebody says community centres normally have craft and chat groups. You can Google groups in your area. I know you're limited cash-wise, but loneliness is horrible. Going to a library, they normally have a board with groups on and meetings, etc. Lots of people mentioning churches again. And WI, somebody says the Women's Institute, and that doesn't cost very much. I know you have to pay an annual membership, but I don't think it's hugely expensive. I know my mum's looking at doing it when she moves to her new area. Yeah, and going back to WI, sorry, I had to actually turn this off again because it was lagging. I think it costs, when I looked into mums, I think they're only charging like 50p or £1 per meeting. The other thing that our church does here, which I'm going to get Mum to go to this week when she's coming back this week, is they call it a friendly club, and it's on a Thursday, and you can just turn up and just have a chat. And it's got people, older people, it tends to be, but not all older people, and some people have got dementia, and they do lovely activities. They do storytelling, they have people coming in, they have tea and cake, and they do singing activities, and sometimes they have like keep fit, chair yoga and that sort of thing. So that's really good. So I'm going to see if Mum wants to go to that this week. Somebody else has said if there's a food rescue group, join it. I know that you can join Olio and do food rescue, which means you can keep 10% of what you collect. You do need a car to go and collect it. I'm not sure how social that is, but I guess you meet people coming to get the food. Have a look at Meetup. There'll be one in your area. So I haven't heard of Meetup, so I'm guessing if you Google Meetup, it is an organisation that organises meetups. There's lots of activities you can take part in. Somebody said, if you like animals, volunteering for your local animal rescue is always so rewarding, and you meet like-minded people who share a love of animals, and before you know it, you have a new circle of friends. Animal rescues are always looking for volunteers to do different types of jobs, whether it be working in the rescue or going out to cat colonies. I don't know what that is, but anyway, I guess you're going out to... No, I don't know what that is. It means trap, neuter, return. So you catch them from like feral cats and stray cats, neuter them, and then return them. So you reduce their numbers over time. People just to go in and cuddle the cats, or if they have dogs, to take them out for walks, because it is something I've considered doing. Now, honestly, there's no peace in this house. Now I've got battery alarm going off for our carbon monoxide alarm. I'm going to turn that off. I'll get there in a minute. It's like I'm here by myself, apart from the cats, and it's just constant. I've got text going, I've got carbon monoxide alarm going, I've got cats demanding to come in and out. What else have we got? Somebody says another library that she goes to nearby has monthly talks and a games afternoon. Oh, games afternoon would be really fun, wouldn't it? That'd be a good way to meet people. And actually, our local pub has games, and they have a games night. So, and obviously I know you've got to buy a drink, but you could make one drink last quite a long time, couldn't you? And that would be a good way to meet people and have a chat. Somebody says as well, mentions Age UK, that they have activities for older people. So if you've got somebody perhaps, or if you are somebody who lacks mobility, like my mum, sometimes those kind of groups for older people also organise transport. That was the case actually when I was looking at my mum's new area as well, so I sent her quite a few ideas. The other thing somebody has mentioned here, and that I've also been looking into for my mum, is called the University of the Third Age, U3A, I think that is now. They've kind of rebranded. And I did, when I was teaching yoga all the time, I did a few free sessions for them. And they do all sorts of things. That they ask people like me with some skills to come and kind of volunteer to do a few sessions. They do get people coming in for talks. They have members who also have particular experts or have particular knowledge on certain things, teaching everybody else. They go on coach trips. It looks really, really good and worth looking at, and it doesn't cost very much at all. It is a charity. Somebody else has said visit care homes. And that's the point as well, because a lot of people are lonely in care homes. They don't get visitors, so you can volunteer to go and see them. Join Facebook groups in your area. Advertise you can assist with pet care. If that's your thing, it might lead to paid work. If you're able-bodied, can you help with jobs for the housebound? Get out for a walk at least once a day. Talk to people. Don't stay in isolation. Very good. Somebody else says, if you are able, park runs. Park runs are really fun on a Sunday. They don't cost anything. You can walk them if you're not up to running. So lots of people recommending that. So many ideas have come up just from this thread, which was from yesterday. So already so many ideas. So, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get out and meet people, do you? It just proves it. There are all sorts of community events that you can get involved with. Fundraising, I think, personally is a really good one, because you're working together, you're working together as a team, you're doing something really worthwhile, so you get a lot of satisfaction out of that. I think there are things like gardening groups as well. And if you like gardening, you don't have to have a garden. You can volunteer to go and help somebody else in theirs. I know we used to have a really big garden at our last house, and we grew vegetables. We had a veggie patch down the end. And then we were just so busy, we weren't growing very much at all. And I remember saying to Justin, we could actually loan someone a bit of our garden and they could grow some vegetables down there. And that would be really, really useful. Not everybody can get an allotment. They tend to have quite long waiting lists. So, maybe some of your friends or neighbours have a bit of garden they can loan you, or perhaps you can loan some people a bit of your garden and they come in and grow some veggies for you and you can chat to them. So that's another idea. Anyway, that is all I've got for that so far. If you've got any brilliant ideas for how to combat loneliness when you don't have a lot of money, please do share them in the comments. I think even groups, even going on to comment section on groups like this, you feel like there's a sense of community sometimes. So Facebook groups, as I say, there's a sense of community, even if you can't physically get out. But, if you are housebound, there are groups that will come in, there are people that will come in and see you. I know that our local library has volunteers that take books around to help people who are housebound. So you get books come in, you get someone come in and chat to you about them. So there are all sorts. I mean, I'm sure I could think of more if I sat here long enough, but that'll do for now. So over to you. Do let us know in the comments your ideas, things maybe you've done or other people have done that have worked for you. And I know we're not just a UK audience, so if you're in other countries, let us know what works in your countries too. Thanks for watching this video. If you've watched to the end, don't forget to give me the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you know next time I am publishing something. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.